All right, so today I am very happy to be joined by Michael Lydon. He is a musician and a writer and one of the founding editors of Rolling Stone magazine. So being one of the founding editors of Rolling Stone magazine and being in the music scene at that time, he had a front row seat to some of the most amazing shows in music history, and so hopefully we'll be able to find out about those things today. I met Michael a week or two ago at a University of Columbia journalism conference, and I was very happy to talk to him there. So, how are you doing, Michael?
I'm doing very well. I'm delighted to be talking to you. That Columbia thing is a great, because there are courses and all kinds of things in graphics and yearbooks on news stories and feature stories and stuff, and it was the kids who come are motivated and good kids, so I really enjoy it.
All right. Well, I guess we'll get right into it. So,
Okay.
being at Rolling Stone at such a time in the late '60s and early '70s, you were at it for one of the most energetic times with writers like Ralph Gleason and Hunter S. Thompson and Lester Bangs. So could you tell us a little bit of how you got there and what was it like to be at a time of such
Sure.
cultural
Um,
importance?
well, I got there because in high school I was a big jazz fan, and I just loved music. And I played a little piano and clarinet, but it didn't get very far because I thought I'll never be good enough. Um, but then in college I wrote a fair amount about music for the Yale student newspaper, and I went right away from graduating to being a reporter for a newsweek magazine in London, which was very exciting. And it
Yeah.
was just wow,
Yeah, I bet.
that's a good way to begin my
Yeah,
career.
exactly. Yeah.
And But then this was in 1965, 6, 7, that era, and music was really changing rapidly. I mean, the Beatles had just blown everyone's mind. The Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band was fantastic. Aretha Franklin, Otis Redding. There was so much going on, and it was a new kind of pop music because pop music before then had been many great artists. Frank Sinatra, Ella Fitzgerald, and things like
Yeah.
that. But they were best at just being musicians. They weren't really carrying a message. Whereas for kids my age, in the mid late '60s, music was bringing us powerful ideas that we felt we had to respond to.
Yeah.
I
Totally.
always think of he not busy being born is busy dying. Well, that's something that there's months and weeks and years of living to sort of know what that means.
Who was the one who said that?
What's that?
Who was that quote by?
Bob Dylan.
Yeah.
Bob Dylan. And he was the kind of person that we were listening to for ideas. It wasn't just fun music, but it was we were carrying big ideas. And then the spring of '67, I was at the Monterey Pop Festival, which was a big deal and very exciting. I remember particularly Otis Redding and Janis Joplin just took the roof off the place. It was great. And I came back from that. I had met Jan Wenner at the festival. We were in the press corps, and he gave me a call and he said he was starting this magazine and would I be his managing editor. I was a few years older than he is, and I think partly he was looking for someone who would be a little more experienced, a little
Right.
saner. He was a very impulsive guy, a good guy. Some people complained about him, but I had nothing but good working relationships, and so. He already had the name. He had that logo of the psychedelic lettering of the Rolling Stone. He had the first people lined up, and he had a little bit of money from his family.
Right.
And he just started. There was the printing company that was going to print the Rolling Stone had a sort of an empty attic. Upstairs was just stored old tools and rolls of newsprint. And so he said if we gave him the job of printing Rolling Stone, we could get the space for nothing. So it was a great start. It was a dusty old place up there, but we just just did it. Jan asked me to write a piece on where the money had gone from Monterey, from the Monterey Pop Festival.
Right.
And so I did the best I could. I wasn't really able to track down the money, but it was a sign that Jan wanted a serious magazine. He didn't want just sort of a teen fodder, oh, squeal, squeal, the Beatles. He wanted something serious, which has continued to this day with Matt Taibbi and people like that.
Yeah.
I was still working for Newsweek, and I was going down there at nights, and then I was they would get me to make long distance phone calls when I was at Newsweek to save a little money. But it was a good gang of people who were motivated, and again the spirit of the times was very positive, very cheerful, very growth oriented. And then I actually only stayed as a staff person for about 6 months because I was working for Newsweek, but I wanted to. Rolling Stone was inspiring me to be independent myself. So I wanted to do something on my own, and there was so much interest in pop music that for journalists, the editors wanted stories, and they wanted someone to cover Janis Joplin, Jim Morrison, the Grateful Dead. And the older writers, the older reporters didn't get it. They didn't care about it.
Cameron Crowe.
It wasn't their bag.
Yeah.
So, but it was for me. I loved it. I wanted to learn about it more and more. So, I quit Newsweek and I quit Rolling Stone, and I just worked as a freelance writer. And it was so popular. Editors wanted pieces. Articles on these young artists, but they didn't understand them themselves. So I got the gig. So I got a lot of gigs, which was great. And then I went to London for Newsweek and interviewed John and Paul, which was a thrill. And then just heard, just was hanging out at the clubs that was sort of seeing what the scene was like. And then Newsweek transferred me to San Francisco just at the time when San Francisco was really becoming a big deal with the Airplane, with Grateful Dead, with Grace Slick, and with Janis Joplin. And so I had plenty of stories to cover out there. And then I just kept at it. Basically it was because I love music, and I thought I got it. I felt like I understood it. I knew how to write about it.
Yeah, exactly.
And it's a wonderful thing when a young writer finds his subject, his or her subject. It's usually a combination of brains and heart. Where you sort of know enough to write about it, and then you care about it. And then it just continued. Go ahead.
How did you get that gig at Newsweek right out of college in London?
Well, I had summertimes. One summer I worked for the Dayton Daily News. I was on the Yale newspaper, and so then someone had a kind of a summer job for someone at this Dayton Daily News in Ohio, and I said yes, pick me, and so I really pushed for it, and then I hitchhiked out from Boston, which was my hometown, to Dayton, Ohio, and I worked there for the summer. Then the next summer, it was Mississippi Freedom Summer, a big summer of civil rights activity. And Goodman, Schroeder, and Cheney were all killed by these racist morons. So by the time when I was graduating from Yale, when I took my resume around to newspapers and magazines, I had a pretty impressive resume for someone who was about 20, 21 years old. So that's how I got onto Newsweek.
Wow, that's crazy. So.
Well, I loved it. Go ahead.
I mean, so doing all these stories and all the artists that you covered at the time, like, there were so many that were great, but then there were so many that died too young.
Terrible.
So I'm not asking you to rank them because that's kind of morbid. But who would you say, like Morrison or Hendrix or Brian Jones or Janis Joplin? Like who would you say left the biggest void in the music industry?
I'll pick two. I'll pick Jimmy and Janis.
Yeah.
They were. Jimi Hendrix is an incredible guitar player. I mean, just what he did with the guitar, no one had ever done before. No one had even imagined doing it before. But he had style, and he had grace, and he was sexy, and basically a down-to-earth, friendly guy. And Janis was a wild woman. She was so much fun to be with. I'd go over to interview her, and then would start drinking a little bit of wine, and then all kinds of stories would come tumbling out of her, and she'd laugh, throw her head back, and laugh. She was such a good kid. Yeah. And this thing about so many of these young artists dying, basically killing themselves, really. I still don't understand it in a way. I mean, I think when I say to people like your age or college, that kind of age, make it till 30.
Yeah.
Because the 20s are so wild, you can do anything you want. How do you handle it? But in 30s, people, as a general rule, do start to sort of calm down and get a little more serious, a little more aware of the dangers.
Right.
I mean, for instance, I knew that Jerry Garcia was taking psychedelics, LSD and things like that. I had no idea he was involved in heroin.
Right.
None. Because he was Mr. Groovy, Mr. Positive Vibes. And so the idea that a guy who was being so positive and communicating so much positive energy to people like me, I learned a lot from him. I admired him as a human being. But then to discover that he's killed himself by heroin, it's just, you sort of couldn't believe it. And you think, so don't you get any ideas, Connor? I'll come down here.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, seriously.
Yeah.
It's things that are dangerous are dangerous. They do kill you. So don't mess around with them,
Yeah.
A little bit of pot never hurt anybody.
Yeah.
but don't be careful.
Don't get on the hard stuff. Gotcha. Yeah. All right, so picking it back up,
Sure.
So I read that you went to James Brown concert, or a number of them. So, like, being at one of those electrifying shows at, like, pretty much the height of his career, would you say, how much was it James Brown against the JBs? Because, sometimes they don't get enough credit that they deserve, like Bootsy Collins and Bobby Bird. Like, what would you say comparatively, his band versus James Brown?
Well, a good buddy of mine, Jim Payne, a very fine drummer, he worked with some of the sidemen, James' sidemen from various times, and he admired them tremendously. I mean, he really listened, and he knew what he was talking about. I could just listen and enjoy it. But Jim really sort of understood what these guys were trying to do with new rhythm figures and everything. So they get A+. But it's sort of a law of show business that people want a star. They want the Janis, and they don't care about Janis' sister.
Right.
And James Brown is he's one of the true greats. He was so original.
Yeah.
And again, he was communicating big ideas. And so I wouldn't want to. Let's just leave it at James and how. Did you see this documentary movie about the background singers?
Yeah, I did see that. The 20 Feet from Stardom.
It's a little bit like, it just works out that there's the star.
Right.
There's the guy or the gal out front singing, and the people that are there to back him up.
Right.
And so. It's just sort of the way it is. Sometimes a background singer gets pulled forward. People have to really. You have to work at your career. You have to sort of be sensible and sort of see where you have opportunities. I mean, for instance, Marvin Gaye. He started out as a classic Motown guy with one of those sort of mohair suits and very slick and sharp, and his music was like that. But he was looking around saying, well, why don't people take me seriously like they take Bob Dylan or John Lennon?
Yeah.
And people want that. They feel, as artists, they feel, I've got something to say that's really important. And of course, he had a line in one of his songs, we're all sensitive people. Again, that to me was a little bit like that Busy Being Born.
Yeah.
This is a big idea. So you're on a bus and you look at the people sitting next to you and you figure, we're all sensitive people. So that means that lady is sensitive. She's worried about something.
Yeah.
You never know. She just looks like she's smiling. She's talking with her friend. She's watching when to get off the bus or whatever like that. But we're all sensitive people. It's the kind of So Marvin Gaye gave me an idea that I've used. I still use. I walk just down the street to say, look, that person. What are they sensitive about? There's something about them that they're worried about. Maybe, a child might be ill, or they might have gotten some bad news, or whatever it might be. So, the power of music, music's ability to communicate deep feeling.
In the littlest, minimal words communicated.
I'm sorry, I missed what you said.
In minimal words communicated.
Yeah. It doesn't. You don't have to write a 400-page book.
Yeah.
But then somehow, for instance, like War and Peace.
Yeah.
That it's a big long book, and in a way, but they put those two opposite words, war and peace, right in the title, and you sort of got everything. So then you got life in there, age, beauty, all kinds of things. It's wonderful.
Yeah, totally. All right, so I'd love to bring up the Altamont tour, or the tour to Altamont that you went on with the Stones. And I actually ordered the book because I'm really interested by it. But I want to ask you about, there were all those people along with the Stones, not Stones themselves, but people like Bobby Keys and Billy Preston, and that weren't technically Stones, but were really important in shaping them. Could you share some stories or insights about those people and players of the tour?
Yeah, I'm just trying to think, offhand. I'm not sure. I know, I'm just not really sure. I mean, the Stones, they had B.B. King on the tour. They had Tina Turner on the tour.
Oh, wow.
And they really admired him. The thing I found about the Altamont tour and that whole time, it was like the Stones were like the sun, and we were like the planets, and we just spun around them. And the people, so somehow, the Stones were not arrogant guys. They were good guys. They were friendly. They were cheerful. They were very hardworking. Keith Richards really cared about the music. He'd be the kind of musician who would be sort of knocking himself from having a mistake in bar number 72 or something, but they were very, very hardworking, and then they had that, they had big ideas. I can't get no satisfaction. It came across as a powerful idea that we could really learn from. I'm trying to think of Bobby Keys. Ian Stewart, he was important.
Ian Stewart
he'd been the roadie for them for years,
and
was a buddy of theirs, and he took no nonsense from anyone. A good guy. He was the most, and he played a lot of piano.
Yeah.
They'd put a grand piano out on stage for him, and he would, jump in, and they were a terrific band.
Yeah.
They really worked as a band. It was such different personalities. Bill Wyman, I never saw him speak a single word. He did what he did. He played when he was supposed to play, and then he'd just be by himself and do whatever he did.
Wow. I'm sure Charlie Watts is similar.
Charlie Watts was probably the most fun, because I think for myself and the writer Stanley Booth wrote about this tour too.
Yeah.
That we were sort of guys like Charlie Watts. We weren't flashy, but we had some education. We read books. We thought about things. And he was just a very down-to-earth guy. We had some wonderful sort of back of the airplane, talking about politics, or talking about America and ideas. And he was a very likable, very modest, serious, good guy. I admired him greatly.
That's awesome. And Jimmy Miller, who, he's another unsung hero of the Stones. Do you hang out with him at all on that tour?
No, he was a recorder, right?
Yeah, he was a producer, and all that.
Yeah.
So he wasn't on tour.
He was a very capable guy. Again, thorough professional.
Yeah.
They would get the reputation of being nuts and wild and getting into tantrums and all kinds of stuff. He was just a full-fledged professional who knew the job, knew what he had to do, and did a good job.
Yeah.
So again, professional. They wore the crazy clothes and they were dancing and they were singing wild stuff. And Keith was a powerful. He really communicated on stage. And a very nice guy. I'll tell you one little story about Keith Richard. After one of the shows, we went to the airport, and then a bunch of us divided up a little bit, and I ended up walking alongside Keith down one of these long airplane corridors. So I just said, at some point, I said, gee, Keith, you really played your ass off tonight. And he looked at me with this quizzical look and said, did I? He didn't know that he was Keith Richards, the guitar guy. For him, he was a guy who hadn't really gotten the flavor of the bridge of one of the songs or something. So I really, the difference between how the audience perceived them and who they really were was remarkable, and that was one of the valuable things for me of the tour, because after the tour ended right at the end of '69 and the '70s began, and then I met this wonderful woman we've been married for many years, Ellen Mandel. She's a superb pianist and composer, and meeting her and then being along with the Stones, that's really what drew me to being a musician.
Yeah.
I could say, and as soon as I could play the E chord, I figured, well, okay, all I can do is the E chord, but it's my E chord.
Yeah, exactly.
I do it my way.
Better get doing.
I'm a little bit different from everybody else, and so watch out, world. Here comes Michael Lydon.
Yeah.
And so ever since then, I'm still writing.
Yeah.
But I'm practicing. I'm sitting here practicing every day, trying to get my scales nice and clean, and trying to play a song, one of my new songs, or to play a nice old blues, or I just, but I was inspired by the Stones very, very much so. Okay, Keith Richards great his way, I'm great my way.
Yeah.
I recommend that to everybody. Don't let your love of an artist feel that you're not them. Equal.
Yeah.
You're just another guy trying to make music the best way you know how.
Do you think that the publicized vices and the excesses of the Stones help or hurt the band?
I don't know. Pot was pretty common, and some coke was around, but they were. I didn't see, really heavy duty. I think Keith, particularly apparently when Keith was not on tour, he would indulge pretty heavily.
Right.
And it mattered. This drugs mattered. People did get, think they were getting, and did get some inspiration from pot and from acid and stuff. But as I say, it was in a way less than it appeared, because the people who would always point out, look, they're druggies, didn't realize how much time they spent rehearsing and how much time they spent working at the music.
Yeah.
They really wanted to be good. They were not lazy about their own skills.
Yeah.
They worked at it, and they tried their best every single night.
All right. And to cap it off, do you think that there'll ever be another cultural force so impactful such as the Stones or the Beatles, or do you think that's impossible?
Well, you're absolutely right that there was such an impact. The way in which popular music started with rock and roll was quite amazing, and it had a big effect on people, and I've never seen anything quite like it, and I don't know whether I will again. The combination of some really good artists. Bob Dylan is a great artist. John and Paul, great artists. Mick and Keith, great artists. and they wanted to say things, and they did say things, and they had an audience that was ready and willing and able to listen and to be inspired by them. And that does not, that kind of combination does not happen every day. And why it happened then, that's for a cultural historian.
Yeah.
But the main thing was that they were hardworking, dedicated artists, and then doing something new. I mean, a thing I've written about and thought about a lot. So what made rock and roll? What was it? For me, it's boiled down to two things. One is the influence of African American music. The beats, the rhythms, the bluesy feeling, the driving beats. That's something, that is not, there isn't that in Chopin or in Mozart. I mean, Mozart, they're terrific. I'm not knocking them. But there were musical ideas of non-stop driving rhythms and the kind of blue notes and those things that just, are very powerful. So that was one feed of power, sort of the African American influence on popular music, and the other is electricity. That they didn't have record players and tape recorders and that stuff in 1900, and the ability to electrify music, to make records, to have concerts, to sing in microphones, all the ways in which electricity was a powerful force in music. So if you combine all the interest in the power of black music with all the power and influence of electric music, that's what basically popular music is about. Whether it be, I'm trying to think offhand of an artist, but that's what made them so powerful. So for two big cultural events, the power of black American music and the power of electricity, that they came and got wedded together right at the same time, that's unusual. That's a double whammy that was very, very popular.
There couldn't be another.
Still is.
There couldn't be like the electricity you're saying. There couldn't be Van Halen in 1922.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Absolutely. You couldn't be playing for an auditorium of 30,000 people.
Yeah.
You couldn't have had an Altamont. You couldn't have had a Woodstock.
Yeah.
It's recording. I mean, now there's multi-track, all these things, and now computerized and digital and all that stuff. Very, very powerful. So the cultural revolutions of the 60s had a lot to do with music and electricity and the black culture. So that's what I would say.
I've written about that too, about like just being different is what makes someone their own, and well, in the literal sense too. But I don't know, I've thought about it, like the way that Elvis was so different in whenever he started. I don't know, like it'd be easy to say that it would be easy to do what Elvis did now, like then, like it's easy to say that now, but coming at that time, it was so different that it's like it's otherworldly when you think about it. The time that he did it in.
Yeah, I think so. I remember. I'm old enough that I can remember the beginning of rock and roll.
Yeah.
And remember my brother John came running down to the kitchen. Hey, everybody, you got to listen to this. You got to listen to this. And he was talking about Elvis.
Yeah.
And it was so different, and so powerful. It really changed people and gave them new ideas of what life made possible. And it was just fun. And I had been a jazz fan, but I knew the rock and roll was something new and different. It had jazz elements to it, but it was something on its own, and very, very powerful, and also just tons of fun.
Yeah, and people are always striving for being different today because they kind of figured out that that's what makes money, but it's like it's hard, and that's like that's what made those guys so great. Is that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, here I am. To me, my music is number one on the charts.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm working on it all the time. I just
That's the
love it.
spirit. Yeah.
And I love. Oh, here's incredible music that we went to. St. Matthew's Passion, by Bach.
Yeah.
Wow! I mean, it just blew our little wigs. We were just sitting there, just hearing the singing and the instrumental playing, and the high voices and low voices and big voices and
Yeah.
the little orchestra, and then the ideas, the musical ideas of Bach. We can just thank the good Lord for it. I'll tell you.
Yeah. All right. Well, that was absolutely wonderful. I'm really happy and lucky to have you on.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, well, thank you. Thank you. How am I going to be able to hear this?
Oh, I'll post it on the website like either today or tomorrow.
Okay, send me send me an email.
Awesome.
We have our email address.
Yeah, I shall. All right.
All
Well.
right, Connor. Well, then, thanks a lot for having me, and good luck to you. So you've been playing with someone else. Who are you playing guitar?
Yeah, I play guitar and sing.
Great.
I play
Have
blues.
you been writing songs?
Yeah, of course.
Great. Well, I hope you can have number 2, 3, and 4.
You have number
I
one.
can have number 1.
Yeah.
We'll make a deal, okay?
Yeah, deal. It was great talking to you.
Well, I'll be looking forward to hearing it, and keep going with your you've got something. The stuff I've seen of yours is unusual and unusually good.
Thank you so much.
Going.
Thank you
keep
so much.
Doing it. Keep looking around, and you'll make a name for yourself.
Awesome. Well, have a great day, and I'll talk to you later.
All right, Connor. Sure. Bye.
All right, have a good one. All right, so this is Norris signing off from norrisport.com. Thank you for listening.